listening to some of the earlier conversations that had happened, one of the key things as it is I've critically taken notice about is that everything as it is we do today, even from the mobile phone, requires GIS data or some amount of GPS data. And we at OpenStreetMap Ghana is one of the critical things as it is we believe, and also attempting to stand on the fact that whatever data that it is we can find, we make available. I heard the person from the space science said they were chasing some data for about a year. When I heard that, I was sad, not only sad, but also to add to that, there was a data asset we at OpenStreetMap Ghana had chased for about 2 years, which we didn't get from the Ministry of AME. The data we were actually looking for was what we called street data. AME had actually performed some street naming data across the country. We felt that data was actually data that can actually be made available to the citizens of the public. We had actually chased that data for quite some time, but OpenStreetMap couldn't have access to that data to be able to make that data public. One who asks, what is OpenStreetMap data? If you have ever used any car requesting app or a car hailing app, not to advertise any of them, then you have actually used OpenStreetMap data. If I've actually used Facebook for recommendation, then you have actually used OpenStreetMap. As of now, there are facts and statistics that point to the fact that OpenStreetMap data has accurate data as compared to the legacy map as it is we have, which we popularly known as Google Maps. So if we see the data that is currently in OpenStreetMap, it is more accurate and more recent as compared to the data as it is would have to OpenStreetMap. OpenStreetMap Ghana currently has the largest GIS enthusiasts across the country. We actually span the length and breadth of Ghana. We have actually undertaken projects either with Garrett or the World Bank, or in the capacity of local knowledge as it is we have. I heard Wisdom made mention about earthquakes and Turkey. The beautiful thing is that when Turkey happened, or Haiti, OpenStreetMap data was actually used to actually determine where each building was actually as and when the earthquake happened and what happened after the earthquake. So if we can currently look at the data in Ghana, there are 2 projects as it is we have done with what we call Open Cities data with the World Bank and Garrett. So if you go to OpenStreetMap, every building in Nima, Alogoshi, Akweteman can actually be located in OpenStreetMap. Whether it's a kiosk, whether it's a residential building, or even any bigger structure as it is you can find. I'm using Nima because Nima can be considered as one of the most heavily populated cities or urban settlements in Accra. But I can put my life on the line and even bet you on top of it that when you go to OpenStreetMap, the last time I studied the data was collected, we have over 98, if not 99% of all the physical structures as it is we have currently in Nima on OpenStreetMap and 4 other communities. We are currently embarking on a project. I saw the Keta project as it is we're talking about. The next project as it is we are doing is to actually map all the entire buildings and roads as it is we have in Keta in preparation for any disaster that might happen in Keta. So that in that eventuality, as compared that may happen in Haiti and Turkey, that would mean that that data already exists. If Turkey had already mapped all the entire buildings as it is they have mapped and the data was opened, what will happen is that either disaster response or humanitarian organizations that were ready to go out to rescue people would actually know where each building was as and when the earthquake happened. But when the earthquake happened in Turkey, it had to take the OpenStreetMap community about a week to actually map all the entire buildings in Turkey. It has been done before and after. Even though that effort was collaborated, it has taken a week. That would have taken a long time to find somebody. That is our concern. What, again, we seek at OpenStreetMap is to find where as much as data as it is we can find that can be made readily available to all citizens, because we are saying that the data as it is we put back into OpenStreetMap is available to anybody who is capable to manipulate that data and use it for other research of whatsoever purpose as it is we want to be able to use it for. We find the data, we clean the data, we validate the data, and make it accessible to anybody, wherever it is you are. We don't restrict you, we just make it available to you. I'll stop here since we are running out of time. If there's any questions, maybe I can expatiate on that, and then maybe give it a further in-depth, how do I call it, explanations, if somebody has any clarifications to sort.
Estimates land size involved in agriculture for the different crops, and also be able to estimate crop yield, and in addition, predict crop yield. It's a work we started in 2021, and it's a work in progress, because for us to be able to develop rigorous algorithms, we need a bit of time series data set to be able to do that. So that is a work in progress. So that is one thing we are doing in terms of agriculture. So you want to develop a platform like this so that when you input the data set on your farm, you can quickly get the results. This, for example, is yield on a particular farm, and you could see that even on the same field, parts are, in terms of yield, lower. Yield is low. Around this area is quite high. This area, yield is quite low. Yield generally in Ghana is on the lower side. But if we can help the farmer or investors who are providing inputs and finance for farmers to be able to monitor from the beginning of the season to the end, they will be able to assess if the farmer can pay for the inputs or the loans they've gone for. The farmer can assess themselves, how much am I expecting at the end of the season, and what should I do, what kind of decisions do I have to make. So our long-term goal is to provide a platform like this for decision making, not only for the farmer, but for all other relevant stakeholders and agencies in Ghana. The next slide. Next slide, please. Next. The next one is mining. Mining is key issue in Ghana, but recently it's coming down. We did some work to assess the impact of the amount of land involved in mining in Ghana from 2007 to 2017. And this is just the results. We are currently working on to bring it to current. Again, we want to provide a platform, an interactive one, so that when you can go, you can assess, you can select an area, and you can have the results. But within this 10-year period, about 47,000 of land in Ghana was converted to mining. And that of illegal mining was the highest. So you can see from the slide here that 2014, 2015 were the peak periods. Governments noting that implemented some policy measures. How can government assess and see that, okay, this policy measure is yielding the needed results or not? Can we be going everywhere to all the illegal mining sites every day? It's impossible. So we need a way, and the use of satellite data is important. And I'm happy to tell you the data set we use for this work is from open data, free data that is available that can be used. And these are the kind of solutions we want to produce for our country so that our decision making will be informed based on data, evidence-based, so that we can address some of the challenges we are facing as a country. Next one, please. We depend on weather, but we don't use it in our decision making. So there's also a platform I want to point you to where you can follow up. Next slide. You can follow up on the rainfall season in Ghana. It's called the Rainwatch platform. It's also an open source, again, open data. Currently, we have about 16 countries, but the country that is most up to date is Ghana. And you can go there and access information. If I had asked you, last year was 2022, 2022 and 2021, which year was the most wet among all the years?
Recording in progress.
It would have been very difficult for you to answer that question. We have perhaps, based on perception, and you would have given me an answer. But here, on that platform, you have the data sets there, so you don't even need to wait to the end of the season to see the performance of the year in terms of rainfall. When the rains begin, in January, you can be tracking. And then by the end of the season, you know what has happened. So if you are a farmer, you are a water resource manager, you are at NADMO, you are a research scientist, you are whatever, you can be tracking the season. And you can log on to www.rainwatchafrica.org, www.rainwatchafrica.org. When you go to that platform, because of time I can't display it, just select Ghana. And there are a couple of stations. We are working with the Ghana Meteorological Agency to populate it with more station data so that we can access this information from the very rainfall that occurs yesterday and the subsequent ones to the end of the year so that we can access that information. This year has not been updated, but they are working to populate it, and every 10 days this will be updated so that you can track rainfall in Accra and also in your village and other areas in Ghana. And hopefully we want to get to the level we also use satellite data so that within every 4-kilometer radius, you can get a specific rainfall information. I want to end here. You can follow up with us through the email address and the contact number, and then we can collaborate with you. We are very much open. Space cuts across all aspects of our development. It's an enabler, and we hope to work with each one of you so that we can bring development to our mother Ghana. Thank you.
Spread the word as we are spreading the word in the spirit of open data. We will be reaching out. There are various other activities that we are looking forward to doing. As you know, Kofi Oluo presented on 3 sectors: mining, agriculture, rainfall, and climate. We want to kind of zone in some of these areas. We'll be starting with agriculture. And I think there was a gentleman from the Ministry of Agriculture. Yeah, this year we are new. Because for the benefit of those who don't know, there's actually a draft policy on open data in Agriculture. Yes, there is. We work with the Ministry of Agriculture and Nutrition out of the deadlines on it. And unfortunately, we never really saw the light of it. But we're revisiting that with you. And we want to push it forward. For the other sectors, for land, for statistical sectors, we do all the time, doing a lot of work. But the other agencies, NITA, all the other agencies, please, we want to move this forward because we believe one of the issues that we have is the era of amplification of data or information. And most of the times, people can easily spread a lot of bad information. And it is up to us who are working in this sector to actually even provide them the avenue to look for where the information is, what the data is, so that if somebody is telling you about something which it doesn't sit well with you, say, okay, why don't you go to this portal and find it? Stephen was talking about the OpenStreetMap, he said he doesn't want to mention the name of the ride-hailing app, but I recognize that when I use that ride-hailing app, it gives a very accurate destination for where I'm going, for where I originate to where I destinate. So, yes, there's a lot of things that we work with in news all the time, but when we don't pay attention to some of these things, we might not recognize it. But the strength is that's you and I doing this thing together, and on platforms like these programs that we are having, that we can be able to do things together. So please, we are going to have a first minutes after this. Don't run away, we have a room to control. Let's mingle, let's reconnect, and let's move forward. Any questions or stuff, our information will be shared with you, and we can move this conversation forward. So I'll just leave you a closing remarks and then close.
Thank you very much. You've all been amazing. Staying from the beginning to the end of the program, I'm highly inspired, and I believe we have some takeaway points you are going to act on. And we want to move our nation forward together. And so I want to encourage each one of you, let's do our best in the corner where we are, so that we can work together as one Ghana revamp projects, one open data platform, and bring the kind of change we want to bring to our country. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for the time you used to be part of this. I'm hoping to be other opportunities so that we can probably share more in depth and probably go through demonstrations of some of the things as well as we ask for people to come and have some background or being part of us, our organization. Because some of the things as are probably I'm hearing out mentioned is that you might go online and say we are looking for photography lab stuff. OpenStreetMap actually has mapped almost all the lab stuff in Greater Accra and nothing back into the OpenStreetMap. And so there are times that as we use any data since we don't know who probably have to contribute that data, but we volunteers or workers like me who actually do that. Almost all the people who are actually presenting anything on OpenStreet open data and in GIS, you notice that they were using OpenStreetMap in their demonstration. Either whether it was from the Netherlands or from kind of statistics, you realize that we're using things like GeoFabric. Those are all tools that are built from OpenStreetMap, and most of the analysis assets we do of kind of statistics are actually based on OpenStreetMap. OpenStreetMap would actually not be better for any of the organizations to be able to capitalize on if they do not make or give us access to some of the data assets we might be requiring. And so, even though as much as it is we are striving to make that data available to every citizen, we also depend on other organizations to be able to provide that data and make it easily accessible. So we want to be able to pick and collaborate with any organization that's probably might have data, GIS data, that can easily be shared to the example. We have the knowledge, we have the skills, we go through capacity building and skills share. We do it multiple times at no cost. We have the personnel across the entire country, anything out of the country to be able to help and support any opportunity as it is we are being granted.
So if you look at this, you can see that this is all the data that is on the Criteri platform. All the data that is on the Criteri platform. If you can go to the search and then probably search for Nigeria. Unfortunately, we don't have Ghana, so I can't use Ghana as an example. So I'm sorry about that. So you can see right from there, even from this data, if you click on Open in ArcGIS Online, it takes you straight to Esri's ArcGIS Online to work on this data, to create a map, to create dashboards, to create story maps. The platform is for not just institutions to put or upload or contribute data, but for individuals as well to do the same. So if you have data that you feel it will be valuable for someone out there, definitely the platform allows you to upload the data for others to access. Data to the platform, resident at Esri. So whatever you put there is vetted by the team at Esri. So it's not just any kind of data that you upload there. And so even in putting the data, you are required to put some metadata, which is mandatory. If you don't put it, it won't go. So you have to provide all those metadata. They look at it and they vet it to be sure that what they are putting there is accurate, or at least it says what it will do. Yeah.
Okay, can you give us some closing remarks so that we have the next presentations? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, just thank you again for inviting us to share at this event. And, I mean, obviously, as IADI, we, are always wanting to be engaged in the open data space in different countries and helping to advance that conversation. And, the ultimate goal is for this information to be easily accessible so that folks can actually make use of this information. I think, I suspect in the room, even though I haven't been here for much of the event, that there is a collective interest in making sure that not only is data out there, right, and open and transparent, but that it can be used. And that is definitely a top priority of IADI. And, hopefully this information has been helpful and can potentially be used by this community in Ghana. But do follow up and let us know if there would be any questions or follow-up that might be, helpful to have after the meeting.
All right, thank you for that.
I work with the Ghana Space Science Technology Institute as a research scientist and also the manager for the Remote Sensing and Climate Center. Today we celebrated the Open Data Day in Ghana. This year, between 4th to 10th March has been designated for Open Data celebration. And the importance of open data is critical. Why? Because we are confronted globally and also even at the national level with challenges that needs to be solved. We want to take decisions at the global level, but that decision also has local impact. We want to take decisions at the national level that also has community impact. And if we can take data to address some of the challenges we are facing, data should be available, data should be accessible, data should be available in a form that can be used. And that is the essence of today's program. So we invited different stakeholders, people from the fire service, from the government sector, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, from the private sector, those from the geospatial industries, SAMBUS, from NADMO, and all the other institutions whose work requires data. And when we all come together and we agree and discuss how best we can make our data accessible, we can use spatial data, Earth observation data, to help monitor the events happening in Ghana. For example, when you take mining in Ghana, we need to monitor legal mining and illegal mining. And the best way to do that is to use satellite data in doing such monitoring so that we can assess the impact of government policy. So for example, illegal mining reached a peak in 2014, 2016. Government came out with a policy. Has that policy been effective? We need to take the data before the policy and after the policy to assess its impact. We are having issues with climate change, erratic rainfall, extreme rainfall events causing flooding. We need to get the right information. So if there's going to be rainfall, can it be predicted? Can it be forecasted? So that where there will be floods and people will die, they can move from those areas before the event happens. That is one importance of data. We can use data, satellite data, to also monitor our agriculture in Ghana. We need to know where our farms are located. We need to know the land, the size of land involved in agriculture. We should be able to predict and estimate the expected yield for maize in Ghana, for cocoa and all the other crops. Data will help us to do that. Satellite data will help us to do that. That is why this conversation is important. And I can talk and talk. There are other and several uses of satellite data cutting across all the various agencies in Ghana. Space data is an enabler to help bring development to Ghana. So let us all support open data and making use of Earth observation data to bring about development. Thank you.